Hey guys, it's Melissa here. Today I wanted to talk to you about love. I know I've had this topic before, but this came up again for me today, and there have been so many synchronicities coming up around this topic. It's such a broad topic because love, I'm not talking about necessarily romantic love, I'm talking about loving one another and loving mankind. And it just amazes me the way that the universe brings synchronicities around. My niece, I was talking to her today, and everyone says she's my mini me, and it's probably true. She's 10 going on 30, and just love her. Of course, I love my children as well, and also her brother, my nephew. But she just definitely is, I guess she is me, like reincarnate. She is my little mini me for sure. My daughter is very sweet and kind and timid. And my niece is very outspoken and out there and pretty much like me, I guess. Yeah, for sure. So I was talking to her today and she said that her teacher did a lesson on Valentine's Day and she asked, "What is love?" And my niece said, "Baby, don't hurt me," from the song. And it was funny, because I'm like, did anybody really get that reference? And she said, well, my teacher got it, and she laughed about it. So we were laughing about that. But it got me to thinking about what is love, really? What is it? I had the fortune to meet some people today who are amazing. And she may just start listening to my podcast. So if she's listening to this, Sarah, I give her a shout out. We are taking a class together through Julia Treat. And she's a psychic medium and she's amazing. And we were doing a practice session today for a class that we're doing. And our practice session probably should have taken like an hour. And we were online for 3 hours today just talking. It's like when you finally find your soul tribe and you start finding your tribe members, it's amazing and it's a wonderful experience. And I know many of you I've talked to and you've reached out to me and we've connected, and it's the same feeling. It's like, oh my gosh, this person understands me and they don't think I'm a weirdo and they understand all the things I'm talking about. And it was the same thing. It was like we connected immediately. And then she started telling me about her child who is transgender from male to female. And her child's name is Natalia. And I'm hoping she's okay with me talking about her child because I'm really hoping that Natalia will be on my podcast. She definitely expressed an interest in being a guest. So I'm hoping to have Natalia on in the future. You would just be blown away by this. She's really not a child. I mean, she's, I think, going into maybe 8th or 9th grade, but it's like talking to an adult and reminds me so much of so many people I've met in my life who, have you ever been around people like that who just seem like wise old souls? And I don't think that this was at all by accident that I talked to my niece today, because I consider my niece to be that way in a way too. That she's like a wise old soul. And my own children too. It's like they're wise kind of beyond their years in some aspects. And I always thought my cousin that way too. She and I would connect, and I got to see her for the first time. I haven't seen her in so many years. And we connected yesterday too. And it's the same way. It's like there are certain people that I've met in my life where immediately when I connected with those people, it was like a true soul connection. And it's like we had an understanding of so much more than just this life. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that. And it's really hard for me to describe other than it's like we all get it, And I feel like many of you who listen, you're in that same circle. It's like you just get it, that we're focusing, or at least most of the rest of the world is focusing on the wrong things. It's like we're supposed to be focusing on love. Love is the message that we're supposed to be bringing. love for ourselves, love for others, love for Mother Earth, all of that. And so many people don't get that. It's like they just don't understand that. And it's really hard for people who are empathic and who do get that to be living on this earth and in this society, because I will give you an example. I had a little bit of a rough weekend, I'm not going to lie. Friday night, I took my daughter prom dress shopping, which was awesome. Like, I love spending time with her. She's an absolute doll. I love my daughter. And I love my son too. He doesn't need me to go prom dress shopping with him, but my daughter and I went prom dress shopping and bonded a little bit. But as we went to dinner beforehand, and as we were sitting at dinner, my brother, who also lives with us, texted me to tell me, we've seen some things happening in our neighborhood, that a neighbor has had like the police show up, an ambulance. We were a little worried, and we found out that this neighbor had, the person she had married was not the person she thought he was, and he was abusive, and she had 3 dogs that she really loved, and he ended up killing one of the dogs. And we found that out Friday night, and also that he was on drugs. And I mean, we live in a really nice neighborhood. It's not that that has anything to do with it, but we were shocked. We were stunned. And also at the same time, we all felt like, why didn't we see something, or why didn't we do anything? But it was so disheartening. Like, how could a human being harm another animal or harm anyone? And it was devastating, especially because we have a dog. Those of you who watch my Facebook lives, you've seen my dog Nate. He loves to stick his butt in the little video, and you see he has almost like a question mark shaped tail. That's what I always think about it when I see him. And you see that tail in the video because he backs his butt up into me, so I'll pet him while I'm on the video. And everyone is like, oh, it's Nate. Hi, Nate. They love him more than they love me, which is fine. I get it. He's way more adorable than I am. But, we love Nate. And Nate used to go and have play dates with these puppies, and she kept him for us. And so it was devastating. It was like losing a family member. We couldn't believe it. It was shocking. And to me, it's just, what goes through my head is, how do you do that? How do you have the capacity to harm a living thing? I don't understand that. And I'll never understand that. But it just, I feel like this whole weekend for me has been about understanding love and what love is all about, and for me, I know why this person did this to her, because someone who wants to manipulate someone else or control someone else, they're going to hurt the things you love. And the only thing she loved that much was her dogs, her animals. They were like kids to her. So he went after the thing that she loved the most. And that's horrible. And I don't want to bring you all down, but I'm just trying to tell you, love comes in so many different forms. And we have to love one another. And us being the light for others, and I was talking about this today with Sarah and her daughter, us being a light for others, we are trying as a collective to eliminate that darkness. There's still so much darkness out there, and we were talking about this today too. I see so many times, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. I've seen on Instagram, that really seems to be the place where people advertise. I don't see it on many other social media sites, but I see it there a lot, where people advertise that they're psychic mediums and they specialize in casting spells. And I can't tell you how much that hurts my heart to hear that. And I'll tell you why. When you try to mess with someone's free will, that is like the worst thing you could do. We were given free will for a reason. And when you try to mess with someone else's free will, it's exactly what this man did to her when he attacked her dogs and he killed her dogs. And it's the same kind of thing. It's a game of control and manipulation. And you may not see it as that. You may think, oh, it's just so innocent. It's not, okay? And let me tell you why it's not. Because you may think like, oh, I want to cast a spell to get my ex back and blah, blah, blah. All right, well, if your ex has moved on and is with someone else and you're casting some spell to get your ex back or whatever, you're not just affecting your ex's life. You're affecting everyone who's involved there. So if there was someone else, you are affecting that person's life as well and making their life miserable. And, I don't think that any of my listeners would get involved in something like this. But if you're thinking about it or you have, please don't do that, because you're affecting someone's karma as well. And what happens is, yeah, your little spell may work for a little while, but it's going to come back to you and you're going to get 10 times worse what comes back to you, because you cannot affect someone's free will. And Sarah and I were talking about this today because she told me, she was taking a class and it was a mediumship class. And when she went in, there were all kinds of people who were interested in doing this kind of work. That is so low vibrational. It's such a low vibrational energy. You don't want that. Okay, that's not going to help you. That's going to set you back. It's going to cause you so much grief in the long run. And you want to stay away from people like that as well. And we were talking about that, and she said, I paid for the class, but I quit because I was like, I don't want any part of this. This is low vibration and it's gross energy. And she's right, it is. You can tell when you're around people who don't have good intentions. And I'm sorry, I don't care if you're just thinking like, but I just wanted my ex back. Well, that's not a good intention, okay? It's not good intention to put something out there like that but I just wanted my ex back. But you know what? You're being selfish and you're not thinking about that person or the people who are around them. And you don't want someone to come back to you because you put some sort of spell on them and made them think of only, that's just, I can't even wrap my brain around how weird that is, honestly. It's just so awkward. And why would you want someone to come to you because you put a spell on them? No, don't do that. Do not get involved in that stuff. Okay, we need to be an example for others of light, not darkness. And that shit is darkness. I'm sorry. I know I don't cuss a lot, but that is darkness. And you need to stay away from stuff like that, because that's not good for anyone involved. Not the person doing it, not you who wants it for someone else, not the person who's receiving it. Do not go there. Okay, we are supposed to be a light for others. And I'm going to lighten this up because I know it got kind of dark, but I want to warn you. I don't know if somebody needs to hear that or what. If you're seeing things and you're tempted to want to contact those people, just don't. Do not do that, okay? What goes around comes around. Our karma comes back to us. You do not want to put negative stuff out there because it's going to find its way back to you, and worse if you're doing that to someone else. You do not want to mess with someone else's free will, okay? We need to be an example of love and light for the collective, because our job here is to raise the vibration for the collective. We want to be examples of light so that others can find the light. And when we help others find the light, it lights our paths as well. And it helps us. It raises us. There's too much darkness out there as it is. You see the news, and the news chooses to highlight the worst of the worst. It really does. Every once in a while, they'll put on a feel-good story to make you feel better, but that is not what sells. What sells in the news is the negativity. And that's why you really have to be careful about how much of it you watch and what you engage in. Because if we were to watch the news, we would think that the whole world is just dark and evil and it's just getting worse and worse. It would be really easy to fall into that line of thinking. But as a teacher, I can tell you that that is not the way of the world. I look at my students who are an inspiration, and some of them are so awesome. And it makes me hopeful for future generations because I know how kind and caring they are and how much they want to save the planet and save the world. And that's why talking to Sarah's daughter today was an inspiration to me as well, and is why I wanted to do this podcast on love, because she was so confident in herself and this message of love and loving others and being who you are and loving your body. And that's why I want to have her on my podcast, because I said, I have so many adults who don't understand that you need to love your body, love yourself, and I'm one of those people. I have a tendency to focus on the flaws that I have instead of focusing on the positive. It's anybody could point out their flaws, but it takes someone special to recognize all of the good in themselves. And it's not being conceited. It's not being arrogant. It's saying, I know that I am a child of the divine, and I was divinely gifted this body, this life, to be who I am, to be an example for others, to be a shining light. And I'm going to take that responsibility, take that job with honor, and know that because I am a child of the divine, I am divinely loved, I am perfect. The divine is perfect, and the divine does not make mistakes. And so we are perfect, and we need to realize that we need to love ourselves and love others. And I feel like we tend to focus on that negativity and not the positivity. And so focus on love. And I have a positive thing as well to share out. I did a message the other day on my niece and how she was being bullied by a little girl. And the little girl managed to turn her friend against her. Well, I told her, I said, you need to send this little girl love, and you just need to focus on you and being positive. Your friend's going to see the light. And she did. She saw this little girl for who she was, and she started talking to my niece again and realized that this little girl was just using her because her friend wasn't available at the time. So I'm telling you, when you focus on love and positivity, positive things come back to you, okay? And do what I do. I didn't even share this story, but last week I was in the Walmart parking lot. I do a grocery pickup, because my life is so hectic and chaotic, and that is the only grocery store that is really near me. I always do pickup because I don't have time to go in and shop. I know that sounds awful, but I don't. So I always go and do the pickup, and I was starting to pull out, and this car came around the corner speeding through. He almost hit the employee, and he almost hit my car, and he gave me a look like, how dare you get in my way? Like, I'm not about to slow down or pull over. And I was just floored. I was like, what? And what are you doing? He almost killed all of us. And my first inclination could have been to get mad and to curse him, but I didn't. I said, okay, angels, go be with that person, because obviously he's got issues, and if he's willing to fly through a parking lot and not care if he hits or kills anyone or hurts anyone, there's something, he needs help. So please go be with him. And that's what I said. And same thing Friday, I posted this on Facebook and Instagram, but I don't think I mentioned this on my podcast. I had a PD day, a professional development day, so I could go in a little later. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go in a little later, and I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna go by Starbucks. I have a gift card that my mom got me for Christmas, which was so nice, and I still had money on it. And I'm just gonna treat myself and I love their green tea lattes, because I love hot tea, and this is like a foamier version, and I just love it. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go get myself one. And I got in the drive-thru, and it's the kind of drive-thru that once you're in it, you cannot get out of it because there's concrete and everything all around. There's no way to get out of it. And when I went around the corner, the line was longer than I thought, because you can't see the line until you get in it. But I thought, okay, no big deal, because they usually are pretty fast. At least the times that I've gone there. So I was waiting, and I was waiting, and I was waiting. I still hadn't gotten up to the speaker, and I was starting to get nervous because I had a good 10 minutes where I had allotted myself to like go and be here. And it was taking really, really long. And I was starting to get nervous and this is what at least happens to me in situations like this where I know I'm going to be late. And I knew we had to be there at 7:30 and we had to be in the gym. And I hate walking in any place late because it feels like all eyes are on you. Everyone's staring. They know you're late and the principals are all there and you're going to get in trouble. Like I start this whole panic thing going, right? I hate being late. Like that's one of my pet peeves. I really just don't like it. And I kept thinking, okay, it's getting later and later. Like I'm going to walk in late. I had an hour drive already and I'm starting to panic and I'm starting to get upset. Like I can feel myself getting really stressed out. And some people would say like, well, what's the big deal? This is the kind of thing that would stress me out. So I was sitting in the drive-thru for seriously, I think it's 15 minutes now. I mean, I had ordered at this point at the box, but I'm still waiting to get up to the window. And it's 15 minutes later and I'm already like, okay, well, if I get there now, like I'm just going to get there just in time. I'm going to have to run in. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. You know, I'm thinking of all the things I have to do. I'm getting stressed. I can feel my chest like getting tighter and like, you know, that panic starting to set in and of like, okay, I'm about to lose it, but I don't want to lose it, but I'm losing it and it's going to be a bad day. And like, I don't want to do this to myself. So then I just said to myself, I said, okay, this is a test. Like you're being tested right now and you're failing. Like you need to snap out of it. You need to take a step back. Okay. You cannot control the speed of the employees here. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. Aside from jumping out of your car, running in there and helping them make coffees, there's nothing you can do about it. And I couldn't do that. So I said, okay, take a deep breath, take a moment, collect yourself, and react with love, right? This is how this is all tying back to love. React with love. Like how would you react to this? And then I imagined that it was my daughter or my son working at the window. Like if the old me, in the way that I was reacting before I checked myself, would have gotten to the window and be like, now I'm late, and screamed at that person, which would have done nothing except make that person have a bad day too. Like it just would have spread the negativity like a ripple effect. And I said, okay, take a step back. You can't control this. There's nothing you can do. You cannot make it go faster. I sent the angels in to help them make the coffee, but I'm like, you know, beyond that, there's nothing you can do. Can you, make them faster? No. Can you speed up your car? No. Like there's nothing you can do. So getting mad is not going to help. Imagine that it's your daughter or your son at that window. Is screaming at them going to help? No. And you're just going to feel bad about yourself later because you'll realize that you screamed at them. So that's not going to help. So take a deep breath and just realize this is out of your control. If you're late, you're late. It's out of your control. I don't think your principals are going to yell at you. That's your fear, but they're probably not. So just take a deep breath. And I did. And the car in front of me got up to the window and I could tell like they handed out a coffee and handed it right back. It was wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. All right. So just continue to breathe. It's fine. It's fine. And I get up to the window and the young man, smiling, all smiles, said, did you have a strawberry blah, blah, blah? And I said, no, I did not. And he said, oh, okay, well, your coffee's on me because I made the wrong thing. And, and I'm to myself, like chuckling, like this is the universe, right? Like I calmed down. I didn't get upset. And then they're like, we paid for your coffee. So I said to him, I said, okay, and I had my gift card, I don't get to Starbucks that much. I said, okay, I want to pay for the car behind me because I really wanted to pay for the whole drive-through, but I didn't want to confuse the poor guy. It's taken him long enough anyway, but I thought all these people are stressed and worried. They're probably late too, at least I could make somebody's day better. But I knew if I tried to pay for everyone in the drive-thru, it just would have taken longer. So I just paid for the car behind me. And he's like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. I imagine that poor kid probably paid for a lot of coffee that morning. He probably didn't make money being at work that day just by how badly it was going. And I felt terrible for him. But he did not, he wasn't upset. He didn't break a sweat. He wasn't like, if I were working there, I would have been panicked and upset and crying, and I would have had an attack of some kind and had to leave. And, he just didn't even look fazed. It was just like, well, okay, I'll pay for your coffee. Your coffee's on me, And so I said, no, but I'll pay for the one behind me. Oh, no, you don't have to do that. I said, I know. I said, it's fine. Like, I wasn't expecting to get free coffee, so I'll pay for the one behind me. And he's like, oh, that's so nice. And have a nice day. I was like, you too, have a nice day. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, angels, please be with him, because I don't know if he's going to have a job for much longer the way that went this morning. So hopefully that poor kid, hopefully they helped him. He got it together. I don't know. But I had a choice. I could have reacted with negativity and darkness, or I could have reacted with love. And had I chosen to react in darkness, that poor boy could have had a bad day the whole rest of the day, and he could have passed that along to other customers. But we chose to stop that story and know that's not going to be my day. And then when I got to work, the rest of my day was great and everything else went great. But it could have been bad had I chosen to focus on the wrong thing. So my message to you is to focus on love. I know that was a really long, roundabout way of getting there, but you know what I mean? It's like we just need to focus on love and loving one another, and that's the most important thing, and that's what we are here to learn. And I wanted to pull a card for you before you left today, and I pulled the card from Crazy Sexy Love Notes by Chris Carr. And the card I pulled was Find Your Tribe. And I love this because this has been a theme for me too. The last couple of days, I feel like I have found so many members of my tribe, and it's awesome. I love it. It's like when you finally talk to people who get who you are and what you stand for, and you don't have to explain things. They just know you. They get you. They understand you. I feel like that's what it's been like. And I feel like that's how it was today when I talked to Sarah and her daughter, and even her daughter, just loved talking to her. And I really hope that she does come on my podcast and you guys get to hear her, because her story is amazing. And this message, the extended message, is your spiritual tribe is out there. And once you find your tribe members, rejoice together, motivate each other, support each other, and stick together. Share your accomplishments, hopes, desires, and heartbreak. Praise each other and offer the kindest tough love when needed. There's strength in numbers. You're never alone. And you know what? I love that, because what I love about finding my tribe is that we do support one another. We do help one another. You know, I've met so many awesome people. I met Heather Duran, who is a very talented accountant, and she and I might be teaming up together to work on a project, and I'm excited about that. So shout out to Heather. I'm excited about meeting Sarah and her daughter, and possibly, having them on my podcast, and she's creating a podcast herself. So once she gets going with that, having her on and letting her explain her podcast so you guys have someone else to follow as well. It's great when we can help each other and we can collectively be a light, because that is why we are here. We are here to raise the vibration of the collective. And it takes all of us, okay? It takes a village is definitely the truth. It takes an entire village to raise the collective vibration. There's so much negativity out there, but there's so much love and good out there too. And we want to shine the light on the love and the goodness and just show others that it's not rare. It's out there. And in fact, that's the majority, not this negativity, not this darkness. Even in the times we're in, where we have a government that seems like they are highlighting the negativity, that is not the norm. It's not the norm. And I believe that with all of my heart. We are the norm, the love, the light. We are the norm. And we have to highlight that, and we have to spotlight that, and we have to show others that that is the norm. That is what we want to see more of. And I truly believe that's why we're here. And I know that we are all going to do this together. And I want to thank you for being a part of my tribe, for helping me with this mission. I love you guys so much. And please, if you know anyone who could use some love and light, share this podcast with them. If you're interested in Reiki or readings or one-on-one coaching, please go to my site. Please contact me. I would love to work with you. I am so excited about what I do and how I'm able to help people, and that, even me helping others, it helps me too. It really does. It's raised my vibration, helped me become more aware. I love it. I absolutely love my job. I can't even believe it's what I get to do. I'm so thankful for it. And thankful for all of you. Please join me on my Facebook Lives on Tuesdays at 7 Central for card readings. And just keep being the awesome people that you are. You are so awesome. Don't ever shrink back and hide. You need to come out of your shells and be who you are and be a light for others. I love you. I'm super thankful for you. Check out my website. I have meditations now that you can purchase. If you want to work with me, but you're like, I can't afford a session, I get it. But I have meditations you can purchase if you want to work with me and you want to clear your energy, you just want to be stress-free, and I'm going to work on a healing meditation now, so check that out. I love you guys. I'm sending you massive love and light. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.